Hi everyone, welcome back to Boss Up with me, Yana. Today's episode is gonna be extra juicy. So please get you, some tea, get you a little snacky snack, and come on back. On today's episode, I wanted to continue a conversation that we had over on my old channel. I kind of also promised that I would elaborate on a specific subject and I never did. So I was like, okay, no, today is the perfect day. I don't know if you guys remember the conversation we had about vehicle financing. Today, I really wanted to continue the conversation and elaborate more on balloon payments or residual value, as some call it. So yeah, let's get right to it. So, sometimes you do something, but you don't know how significant it is to other people. Like, genuinely, this video I have it here, it has like 1.3. I didn't think it was that significant, but I've had so many people walk up to me and be like, hey Yana, you really helped me buy my first car, you really helped me make the best decision to finance my car. And I'm just like, okay, wow, I really did not think it was that significant, but I'm glad it reached at least one person out there. And because of those people, I'm now like, you know what, let's continue the conversation. Anyway, let me not ramble. Let's jump right to it. I have my phone here, I always have my talking points, but I'm gonna start by just defining a residual value or a balloon payment. Let's start with balloon payment. I'm just reading the definition I got from Google. It says a balloon payment is a larger than usual one-time payment at the end of the loan term. Okay. Then residual value, as it's sometimes termed, it says the residual value, also known as salvage value, is the estimated value of a fixed asset at the end of its lease term or useful life. Okay, so I've heard both of these terms used when referring to what we're going to discuss today, but the one I see very, very often is a balloon payment, right? A quick recap of the other video. I feel like my neighbors wait for me to start talking and then they start banging things. It's just a lot. Oh my gosh. So quick recap of the other video. I discussed ways you can finance a gray import, a second-hand car, and a brand new car. Gray imports, which are just the normal cars, I said depending on the price, of course, but like your usual Boyaris, Bo Master Demio, Boranexi, just the likes, I would recommend that you just save up for them and buy them cash. I don't recommend that you finance those cars, right? But there is a specific showroom, specific place in Mogoditani that West Bank does finance. I think it's Gobe Trading, if I'm not lying. I remember seeing that sign. So by now, I think some of the banks are starting to consider financing gray imports, but generally they don't. Yeah, just on a regular day-to-day, they don't usually do it. But depending on how much the car is, I recommend you just save up for it and then buy it cash. Then moving on to second-hand cars, either buy them cash or have them financed through the bank. If you're going to finance them through the bank, just know certain banks will want a deposit. At the time I was buying a second-hand car, West Bank wanted 10% and Stanbic wanted 20%. But just check to verify, because things might have changed. It was like in 2015 or 2016 when I got my car. I don't remember quite well, so it was quite a long time ago. So just double check. And then the third car would be your brand spanking new car. I personally wouldn't buy a brand new car cash. Reason being that if it's brand new, chances are it's over 100k, right? If I have 100k cash, I don't think I would spend it on a car. For me, it baffles me. It doesn't make sense. But again, it depends on a whole lot of factors. Also, it just varies from person to person. I'm just giving you my opinion. I feel like if you have 100k cash, you're better off investing it than spending it on cars. But that's a completely different story if, let's say, you've made a ton of investment and you still have leftover cash, then it's a completely different story. I'm just talking about like me, just a regular normal person you know. I wouldn't. If I had 100K cash, I'm not spending it on a car. You are better off investing it, right? So that's what we spoke about last time. And then I said to you, there's certain ways that you can play around with the numbers to make it so you can afford the vehicle, right? So this is where the residual value or the balloon payment come in. Listening to those definitions I made, I'm gonna now just simplify it. So what they're basically saying, okay, is like you cannot afford the car. You cannot afford the car, or you don't want to pay the installment that is recommended for the specific value of the car. So you now play around with the numbers to make it affordable, right? So a balloon payment essentially is a deposit, right? So when you're buying a brand new car, it's not mandatory to pay a deposit. It's optional. And you can pay the deposit in the beginning, or you can pay it at the end of the loan. Normally, it's around 30% of the value of the car, which is also in the insurance world what we usually declare salvage value. So we're basically saying we're gonna reduce your loan by 30%, and then you pay it at the end of the loan. Now, if you recall from my other video, I really was not feeling this method at all, because I kept asking, what guarantee do you have that after 5 years you will have 30% of the value of the car? What guarantee do you have that you will have that money cash? Like, okay, no, here, you know? But worry not. Worry not, because if you don't have it, the bank does give you an option to finance that bit again. So let's say your loan was 5 years. They're now trapping you for another 2 years. So you've now spent 7, 8, or 9 years paying for a car. That's what I just said. The question here is the bank helping you? Is the bank helping you? Because I'm telling you right now, you cannot guarantee that you'll be in a better place financially. I'm sure you hope to be, but you can't guarantee that you'll have that money. So is the bank helping you by making sure that they allow you to finance that other 30% at the end of your loan? I don't think so. Just in general, the bank is not your mate. You need to always remember this. The bank is not your mate. The bank is not your friend. I keep telling you guys, never, ever, ever listen to the bank. If the bank says you afford 8,000, check for yourself and maybe do half of that, or just like 75% of that. Whatever the bank says you can afford, chances are if you go for that, you know, you are not gonna live like a easy, comfortable life with your salary or whatever. And mind you, on that end, they actually try. I know they have certain rules, like your loans can't be like a certain percentage of your salary and so on, but I still say the bank is not your mate. You still need to evaluate for yourself what's comfortable for you. So always keep that in mind. And then the next question is, what can you do now to make sure that you do not trap yourself in this loan? Because it kind of seems like a trap, right? Because you've just paid a loan for 5 years, and now you have to now go in and pay for another year or another 2 years to finish off that last little bit. And you know, these days you can get a loan for 72 months. Now that's 6 years. So if you spend 6 years paying a loan and then another 2, oh Lord, you're spending 8 years paying for one car, child. No. This is why I don't like this thing. So what must you do? You always have to make the loan work for you. Make the loan work for you. So you can actually split it up. I remember when I was getting a car, I don't know if this still stands, but they allowed me to kind of play around with it. I could take out a certain percentage at the beginning of the loan and another percentage at the end of the loan, or none at all. So that 30%, they kind of allow you to play around with it a little bit. So it's up to you to decide what you want to do. So you can do 20% in the beginning and then, you know, defer the other 10%, or you can just play around with it, but at most 30%, if I remember well. Just take an example. Let's take an example so I don't lose you. So I found this ad. I'll put it in the video somewhere, here or here, or even just on my face. So I found this ad on Instagram and I was like, oh, perfect, I'm gonna use this. Again, I'm not a representative of this company. I'm just using this for example. They did not send me here to say anything to you guys. I'm not representing them in any way. I'm here in my own personal capacity. I'm here as Yana, just a girl trying to educate you. That's it. I'm just trying to give you a few tips. That's all it is. Like, this in no way is meant to, you know, I don't know if I can say prejudice the company in any way. I just have to do the quick little disclaimer that it's just an example. Got a highlight popped up on my Instagram. It could have been any company really. This specific one just popped up on my Instagram, and I was like, perfect, let me use it as an example. So very, very attractive. They're showing you the beautiful car that you can have, and they're saying you can have it for as little as you can have it from as little as 4701 per month. Check out the tiny little text on top of it. It says from as little as, right? From from. That means that's not the final. Don't get there and think, if you pick any car that looks like this is how much you're gonna pay, right? Because I agree, the cars also, they differ. It can, like, the body can look the same, but the same. And then there's also how you're gonna split your deposit. Are you taking out no deposit at all in the beginning and paying it at the end, which is your balloon payment or your residual? That's what determines how much you end up paying. That's why I bought it from as little as. They're not committing to, like, this is exactly how much you're gonna pay. So if you see this amount, don't get too excited and be like, that's what I'm gonna pay, then go there and then fight them. Barely from, right? You must always read the fine print. And then if you go down, after they excite you and everything, put their numbers, you're now excited, but you have not read the fine print. If you go down, it says 0 deposit. So that's saying the beginning of the loan, you pay nothing. And then they say 30% balloon payment. So how much is this car? We don't know how much this car is. Okay. And then they further say 72 months, right? So you are basically taking out a loan for 6 years. And let's assume that car is worth 300,000. Just an assumption. So we say 300,000 times 30%, 90. So we're basically saying we're deferring 90,000 for the end of your loan. So during the term of your loan, you're only gonna be paying the 210 and the interest. That's all you're paying. And then at the end of the loan, when you're now done, like you've been driving this car, it's even now off motor plan, it's even now boring you don't even want it anymore, you're just bored by now after 5 years, after 6 years, right? And you get to his bank and they're like, actually you still owe 90,000. That's what they're saying. After 6 years, babatla 90,000 from you. That's what this ad is saying. So if you are going to pay from, but let's just use this amount as an example. So if you're going to pay 4.7, they're telling you that at the end of the 6 years, babata 90,000. Assuming this car is 300,000. Remember, this is just an example. Don't also take my video and go to his bank and say, Yana said 1, 2, 3. No. I'm just using this to explain this specific ad so that if you want to go for this, you know what you're getting yourself into. So yeah, this is basically it. I hope you guys kind of have an idea of what's going on here. I just thought I would clarify that because I know this ad looks very appealing, but you need to assess your situation. So in 6 years, are you going to have 90,000 bulai cash? Those are the questions that you need to ask yourself right in the beginning of the loan, before you sign any papers, before you commit to anything. That's what you want to ask yourself. Anyway, again, that was just for example. Make sure you always read the fine print and make the loan work for you. Don't just take it at face value and be like, I'm in. Ask yourself some questions, because I need to tell you guys that, like, if you default and then they eventually come after you, they eventually send lawyers after you, you still are not doing the right thing, they can send sheriffs after you. Okay, you're still not doing the right thing. How can hell go court? The thing is just a mess. Everything. Civil imprisonment is in the picture. So this is what I mean when I say there's a lot to consider, and you don't want to get yourself in any trouble. You don't want to be blacklisted in anything. You don't want to. Just make sure you make the loan work for you. Let me tell you how I would go about it, right? This is what I would do. If I must take the option of a balloon payment, I would do it, and then I would pay as much of a deposit as I can in the beginning. Then I would give it a year. So I'll do the loan for a year, and then after a year, I would buy back whatever I deferred as a balloon payment. So if I do it, I want to be convinced that within a year, I'm not giving myself 5 years or 6 years. I'm saying I want to buy it back within a year. So that's what I would do. I would buy that back within 1 year, so that when I finish my loan term, I can go with the SIP. So I hope you know what I'm saying. I'm saying in the beginning, I'm paying whatever I can afford as deposit. I will take out whatever. After a year, I'm going back to the bank and I'm saying, hi, Mr. Bank, I would like to buy back that balloon payment, right? So what that does is it increases your monthly installment. Remember, you're doing all this to make it affordable. So you did this whole balloon payment thing to reduce your monthly installment. I would go back and be like, I want to buy it back. So when you buy it back, you don't have to buy it back cash. All it does is increase your monthly installments. And then that way, after 5 years, you don't owe anything. So that's how I would make the loan work for me. Yeah. But if you can, I recommend you completely avoid this. If you see yourself just sitting down crunching numbers, trying to make a balloon payment work, chances are you really cannot afford the car you're buying. So maybe you should just get a much more affordable car. But if you're like me and you like to spoil yourself and you like to give yourself what you want, that's how I would go about it. Alrighty. Whew. I really hope you guys understood. I hope I explained it well. But if I didn't, please let me know down below, and also just ask any questions down below. If there's someone here who has a lot more information than I do, also comment below and share some information with us, so we all make sure that we're learning together and doing the right thing. All right, that's all I had for you today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next video. Mwah.